Hello once again, I'm Naomi Mc Laughlan, live on Facebook or as a replay on YouTube. Thank you for watching the replay. Thank you so much for showing up and wanting to make a change. I will once again quickly refresh this page on my personal page and share the live video over to the groups and other Facebook pages. Highly important for more reach. So if you do your own videos, don't forget to actually share it as many times as you can, or at least to your personal page as well if you do use it for business like I do. Okay, that's what I'm doing right now. So one is done and there's another one I have to share it to, and then I can completely focus on what we are doing right now. There we go. All right. Okay. So today's theme is how to actually adapt your products and services for a global market. And as I mentioned yesterday, not everything you sell on a local basis might be suitable for a global basis due to its size, weight, price, and so forth. And that's going to be the theme and topic for today's video cast. So, how do you adapt your products and services, and why would you need to do so? And I hope I can answer these two questions today. If you have any questions while I'm live, please use the comment box and just ask questions if you will, if you like, and otherwise send me an email, or once again, use the comment section and ask questions afterwards if you see the replay, and I will comment on those tomorrow. Right, okay, so the first thing you need to do is to figure out in a sense whether or not your products actually need to be adapted for a global market, or can you just send them out as they are. And I would say there are three major aspects to look at. Number one would be the size of your products, then the benefits your products offer, and then obviously also the pricing strategy, because if you think of, let's say, $10, that might be a low price item in the US, or if you use Canadian dollars or so forth, right? I mean, you know what I mean? That might be a cheap item. However, if you would send that item to, let's say, Ghana, and that would be, I don't know, maybe an item for a child, that might actually be very expensive, right? So you always have to consider not only the currency they use, so is there maybe an exchange rate which actually brings the price up, but also what do those people in different countries make per month? Are they able to afford your products or services at a price you would charge in your local market, right? So here in the UK, for instance, £10, once again, wouldn't be that much for an item for my children, and I'm happy to spend £10 depending on what it is. However, if I think back, I've lived in Ghana for a year, for a full year, so I didn't travel outside the country. I got really used to the prices, to the local prices. And when I first traveled outside again, I felt like, wow, that's expensive. How much you have to spend for, let's say, a kilo of bananas or whatever. Whereas in Ghana, bananas is one of those products you really get almost for free if you compare it to a price over here. And that's exactly where the pricing strategy would then come in, where you really have to think about, can those people not only afford it, but do they see the benefit in spending that amount of money for the products and services you sell? And you really have to then consider this really clearly, how much money you're going to ask them to pay if they are overseas, right? And at the same time, though, you also have to configure whether it actually makes sense to send your products overseas and you would still make a profit, right? Because you're running a business, not a hobby. So philanthropic ideas aside, I mean, of course, you can always make it as low as possible for everybody to afford, and yet you run a business, so you do want to make a profit, and that needs to be calculated in. Or are you running a business that is not so profit driven, but rather purpose driven, then fine, you can actually reduce the prices as low as you can to actually make it accessible to everyone. So there are two major aspects you really need to consider. When it comes to the benefits, once again, you need to consider, would that be a benefit for somebody else in a foreign country? Yes or no, because we're talking about global branding here. So does it actually make sense? Once again, if I tell you a little story, we had 3 break-ins in my house in Ghana, and people actually stole my toaster and some other kitchen appliances in one go. And initially I was so super upset. I was not only upset about the robbery, but I was also upset about the items they actually stole. And yet at the same time, the benefits they may be gotten out of it, I don't know, was an item from overseas. On the other side, electricity is very sparse. So most days we had no electricity. And even if we had some, it was so fluctuating that you couldn't actually on every product or every kitchen appliance, because it would just crash the system, and then we would be off the electricity for several days on end, or even at times for weeks on end. So how beneficial for me would it have been to directly go out and buy a new toaster or a new waffle maker, a new donut machine, and those kind of things, right? So the benefits at that point were kind of useless for me because electricity wasn't there. Hence, I couldn't use the product anyways. So I didn't replace them initially, and so far the only thing, if I'm remembering well, was the waffle maker and a kettle I replaced, and that's about it. Everything else I just skipped it because there's no point. There's no benefit for me in Ghana having no electricity that is there for me to use 24/7, so there was clearly no point. And if you think about the benefits, once again, on a global scale, you really need to consider whether or not, oh, thank you for the hearts, I love that, and the likes, that's really highly appreciated. Thank you. If you have a comment, tell me who you are, leave me a comment, and just let me know what you like about this video or my tips. And then also, if you have any questions, please just comment. But thank you so much for the love hearts and the wows. Awesome. I love that interaction as always. So back to the benefits. Like I said, so you really have to be clear about the benefits. Does it actually make sense in a foreign country, whatever problem your products or services might solve, right? So that's highly important. And then when it comes to size, as I gave you an example yesterday about the sculptures made by a gardener or a landscaper, right? That would be a size question, but it's not just the size in terms of heaviness or in terms of whether it's possible to send it overseas. It's also the size of products in terms of, let me give you an example, washing powder, let's say, right? If you want to sell your washing powder or your handmade soap or something like that, would it actually make sense for them to buy them either in bulk, almost like on a wholesale scale, right? And then for a retailer then to sell whatever you sell to that person on towards his own customers and clients? Or does it actually make sense that you send out individual sachets or individual packets of your products, right? So are you speaking to business owners, or are you speaking to the end consumer who would actually then use your products? And the same in a way applies to services as well. I mean, obviously you're not sending your services away unless you travel. That was one of the thank you, George. That's awesome. That's amazing. You're in Kenya. Oh, that's awesome. That's what I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about global business here. So you see, I'm in the UK right now. You are in Kenya. Lovely. Thank you so much for the love hearts. If you want, share this over to if you have your business page or your private page, wherever you're watching from, so that we can actually reach more people, right? This is amazing. Yeah, like I said, so if you want, give us an example from your country. Are there any adaptations? Have you noticed that companies come into your local market and sell their products or services in a different way? So washing powder for me was one of the aha moments in Ghana, because you can actually buy one wash as a sachet, almost as if you go to a hotel somewhere and get maybe a small sachet of toothpaste or a travel toothbrush, or those kind of adaptations for the needs and wants of that particular customer at that point, right? So if you have an example, then please share it with all of us. I'm still here, right? Sorry, just quickly, just a second ago, I actually lost my connection, and Facebook has just congratulated me for the 10th live broadcast. That's amazing. So I don't know whether you can actually see that, but in my notifications, that's what just came up. So yeah, like I said, so my aha moment came with washing powder being sold in sachets of one wash, and that was meant for hand wash as well, not even for washing machine, because of course the sachets would have been much bigger, but they weren't. And thinking of traveling, like I said, it's like adapting your products towards a different benefit or a different type of need, depending on who would then use it and who would be your end user, right? So that's I think all for today. All the adaptations, you have to think of size, of the benefits, right? You have to make it very clear, are there any benefits for the person using your products or services overseas? And number 3 was your pricing strategy. Can those people overseas on a global scale actually afford it? And it's not to say, I forgot to mention that earlier, it's not to say that they always have to become cheaper, your prices, right? Let's assume you are running a business in Kenya, George, right? I'm talking to you, as you were so handsome to leave me a lovely comment, thank you. So let's assume your business sells products in your local market for a quite low price compared from my side, right? You can actually ask for a higher paid price if you do send your products overseas, right? Okay, let me read your comment, your new ones. Yes, thank you. Yes, I agree. Yeah. So I'm assuming in Kenya it must be similar to Ghana, where they actually do that. They come in with products normally based on needs and wants over here, and then they adapt them to the local market and then sell them in a smaller way. Like I've even bought Maggi cubes, single Maggi cubes, whereas here in the UK or even wherever in the US, wherever I travel to, right, or to Germany, anywhere in Europe, kind of anywhere in North America, you would never buy a single Maggi cube, but rather a pack of 10 at least, or a pack of 20, like in a small tiny box, right? So once again, they've adapted their approach to make it actually possible. But like I said, price doesn't always have to go down. It can actually go up depending on where or who you're selling your products and services to. So keep that in mind as well. Right, okay, that's awesome. Thank you so much for your comments, for the love hearts, for the wows, for the likes. I love that interaction. I will upload once again this video to YouTube as well, so that people can see the replay without having to leave the platform. If you have another comment or question, I will stay on the line for another minute. And if not, then I think I've covered it all. I will go on talking more about global business and how you can actually get your products and services seen on a worldwide global scale, so that you can actually make more profits, right? Tomorrow. Yeah, and like I said, that's it from me for today. I'm Naomi Mc Laughlan. Thank you so much for all the interaction today. That was awesome. Yes. Just reading another comment. 1 second. Yes, thank you. Awesome. This is really sweet. Thank you so much. All right. Okay, so goodbye for today. I'm Naomi Mc Laughlan. Don't forget to check out the link I will leave you below this video, so that you can actually learn more about the Global Brand Strategy Success Club. And I hope you join us and then build your global brand as well. Have a lovely day, a lovely morning, or a lovely evening, depending on where you are and where you're watching from. Goodbye for today.